So, the newly crowned 2005 World Rally Champion Sébastien Loeb makes a triumphant return to his home event here on the Mediterranean island of Corsica. The Frenchman wrapped up the championship in Japan and is now focused on helping Citroën retain their manufacturer's title. It's been quite a year for the man from Alsace, but he's still searching for home success.
I won 3 times Germany, 3 times Monte Carlo, and never Corsica, so it would be great to have that this year.
And Citroën also need François Duval to continue his recent good form to secure vital manufacturers' points. Peugeot are 22 points behind Citroën, and a lot rests on the shoulders of Marcus Grönholm, who won last time out in Japan. And Frenchman Nicolas Bernardi, who stands in for Marco Martin here and at the next round in Spain. In the Drivers' Championship, attention has switched to the battle for second place, with Grönholm 6 points ahead of Subaru's Petter Solberg. And there's confirmation of Citroën's 22-point lead in the Manufacturers' Championship. The driver market for next season is starting to take shape, with the first big announcement coming from Ford. They have signed Marcus Grönholm.
As you can imagine, absolutely delighted to get his signature. Obviously, especially with the new car coming along as well. And okay, it's sort of altered all our strategy because the plan was to go for the championships in 07 and 08. But obviously, when the opportunity arose that somebody like him would be available, then obviously we pushed the boat out to really try and find a way to get him on board.
Subaru's challenge here in Corsica is headed by Petter Solberg, with Frenchman Stéphane Sarrazin in support. And it's a driver lineup team boss David Lapworth seems happy with.
Petter clearly is our #1 driver and hopefully will be for a long time to come. And Stéphane and Chris are both doing a great job. We've been happy with what they've done so far, and unless something changes over the next few weeks, which I don't expect, we'll carry on pretty much as we are.
The Tour de Corse is known as the rally of 10,000 corners, and with the unpredictable weather at this time of year, it can turn out to be one of the most exciting events of the season. The relentless series of corners means constant braking and gear changes, and with the high G-forces involved, it's tough on cars and drivers alike. Mitsubishi will hope to continue their impressive season, with 2-time Corsica winner Gilles Panizzi representing the Japanese manufacturer. While Skoda will be looking for improvement with their local expert in the shape of Alex Bengay. The Rally de France is based, as always, in Corsica's capital city, Ajaccio, and although there are only 12 stages used, at an average of 28 kilometers, these are some of the longest in the championship. A great reception for the world champion at the start ramp in Ajaccio, and how Sébastien Loeb would love to win here in front of his home fans. Despite the ever-present threat of rain, it's a fine day that greets the drivers, so a dry road ahead for Loeb as he prepares to start the 33 kilometers of stage 1.
Gaucher droite 130, puis on va prendre sur gaucher 50 mètres, gauche en volant Gaucher, droite 50 000.
Off he goes then. Citroën's #1 is undoubtedly the favourite this weekend, and very rarely this season has he failed to deliver.
Et droite 123, sur gauche à fond rouge, on va dire 150 000. Et droite 55, on change, revette.
Marcus Grönholm will be hoping for wet weather. His Pirelli tyres will probably only be a match for Loeb's Michelins if we get some rain here in Corsica. The Finn will be full of confidence though, following his second win of the season in Japan, and will be pushing hard to claim a maiden win on tarmac as his time with Peugeot nears an end. Here comes Loeb's split time after 13.2 kilometres. Well, just over 8 minutes and 2 seconds. That's going to take some beating.
oikein pirun pitkä hidas.
Gronholm is closing on the same points now, and we can get an early indication of Loeb's and Gronholm's pace.
Huomio, oikealle 4, vasen hidas silta.
It's not looking good. He's already slower.
Oikein nopea.
5.3 seconds down already. As expected, Loeb is looking like the man to beat. It's a faultless performance here on stage 1 for the world champion. Even at this early stage, Loeb is looking ominously quick.
5, oikein pitkä eli pyöreä. 6.
Back with Gronholm as he closes on the finish line. The two-time world champion is still giving it his all, but one look at his time, and it's already obvious he's not going to match Loeb's pace. No, 13.1 seconds slower. It was a very long stage, but that is still a lot of time to lose this early in the rally. But Gronholm is philosophical as ever.
Marcus, it's a long stage to start the day. Could be tricky on tyres, but how did you take it?
Yeah, there is no news in the times. Just normal.
Petter Solberg is a previous winner here in Corsica, but he was assisted greatly by a heavy rainfall in 2003, and unless that happens again this year, the Norwegian too may struggle to match Loeb.
6 left minus half long, opens into 6 right bus, 18, 6 left bus, 6 right bus, 20.
He's 5th fastest and 20 seconds behind the world champion.
Opens extra long.
Francois Duval was fighting for victory here last season when driving for Ford until engine failure ended his challenge. The Belgian excels on tarmac, and the changeable weather makes conditions very similar to that of his homeland. He's backing up Loeb well so far, 4th fastest after stage 1. Peugeot stand-in driver Nicola Bernardi, meanwhile, is struggling to make an impact.
Sur gauche pour Minon, sortie frein 40 mètres, épingle droite 10. Gauche pour Minon, sortie frein 40 mètres, épingle droite 10, loin corde. Épingle droite 10, loin corde. Sur gauche pont.
Oh dear, this is his first drive in the 307 in competition, and he's obviously not got to grips with the car just yet. The Frenchman is over a minute off the pace, which is not going to help Peugeot in the manufacturer's standings.
Loin corde gauche, 80 moins.
A better start for Ford's Tony Gardemeister though. He's 3rd fastest on stage 1, 15 seconds off Loeb's time. Subaru have high hopes of Stéphane Sarrazin this weekend. Oh, but that's an early mistake for the Frenchman. A slight misjudgment at that hairpin, but that's a reasonable recovery and he shouldn't lose too much time there. Stéphane is 7th after stage 1. Teammate Chris Atkinson achieved his best finish of the season in Japan in 3rd, but the Australian is still very inexperienced on tarmac. Oh dear, well he's made exactly the same mistake as Sarrazin, and that's a very frustrating start for the two Subaru drivers.
Very long, 6 left, 50.
Former Tour de Corse winner Gilles Panizzi's the leading Mitsubishi in 8th, but over 43 seconds off the pace, and he's not happy.
I know perfectly this stage, perfectly. Look, the tarmac is completely clear, the car moves everywhere. Impossible, impossible.
And just 2.4 seconds behind is fellow Frenchman and leading Skoda driver Alex Bengay, so a promising start for the Czech team here. So an early 13-second advantage for Sébastien Loeb, but it's very tight behind the world champion. Just 4 seconds separate Gronholm, Gardemeister and Duval. Alex Bengay is within touching distance of the point-scoring places, but a disappointing start for Mitsubishi Gigi Gali and Harry Rovanpera. Can Gronholm close the gap on Loeb? Find out after the break. Welcome back to the Rallye de France, where the day has not started well for Chris Atkinson.
Chris, we're on the road section between stage 1 and 2. Bonnet's up. It looks like it's finished. What's happened?
Yeah, this is not the way to get tarmac experience, that's for sure. We had an okay run on the first stage, came on the road section here, parked to take our helmets off, then drove on, and the clutch started slipping. Rolled all the way down the hill and tried to fix it at the bottom here, but can't go any further.
So a frustrating end to his first leg, but the Australian should be back tomorrow to drive under Super Rally rules. Stage 2 is the 28-kilometre Olaine test. Atkinson's teammate Petter Solberg is thankfully having a better first day in Corsica. Recent developments have improved the handling of the Impreza, and a new tyre compound for tarmac from Pirelli has Petter hoping for a podium finish this weekend.
Into 4, right plus half long, 80. Line into 5 left cross tightens, opens 30.
A typical Corsican stage here with a hill on one side and a sheer drop on the other. There is no margin for error.
Tighten short, 40.
These cars are averaging speeds of just under 100 kilometers an hour on some of the most treacherous stages in the world. The corners are relentless, and with such long stages, it's a real test of concentration for the drivers.
36 left opens 30, keep right to the crest, slow 6 left minus, don't cut short 2 right. 50. 4 left minus, tightens 3, slippy maybe. Into 4 right minus, half long, times of it, 30. Cut short, 5 left bust, 40, 6 right bust into 5 left, half long.
Solberg remains 5th for now, but still within touch of Francois Duval.
Opens 40. 5 right left.
The third Subaru driver, Stefan Sarazan, has recovered his composure after his earlier spin and is looking very quick. The Frenchman finished 6th here last year on his first attempt at the Tour de Corse, and he moves into the same place on stage 2. Marcus Gronholm has surprised many with his early pace. The Peugeot 307's predecessor, the 206, was a proven winner on tarmac, but the current car has yet to emulate that success.
Ja vasen eri pyöree. 7. Liukas jarrutus, oikea hidas. Ja vasen hidas, soraa liukasta.
The Finn 2 has yet to claim victory on a sealed surface event, but the 5th fastest time is good enough to maintain his current 2nd place.
5. Vasen eri, tiukka kirraa. 5.
It's been a good start too for Ford's #1 driver, Tony Gardemeister, on the 100th rally for the Ford Focus. The Finn season has lost some momentum of late, but the Ford Focus was victorious here last year with Marco Martin behind the wheel, and Tony is certainly displaying the car's speed on tarmac this morning. He was only 2.3 seconds behind Gronholm coming into this stage.
Jatkuu oikea täys uskon 5. Oikea täys miinus hämää sisältä, vasen täys maali. Stop.
And that's another good time for Gardemeister. He's 3rd fastest and now just a second behind his compatriot. Things are looking good for Citroën in the Manufacturers' Championship. Francois Duval is once again playing the perfect supporting role to Sébastien Loeb. With the team leaving the sport at the end of the year, though, the Belgian currently does not have a drive for next season. He's 2nd fastest on stage 2 and closing on Gardemeister. Sébastien Loeb claims his 2nd win of the day and is truly in a league of his own. He's over 13 seconds quicker than anyone else on stage 2. Further back, though, the competition is as fierce as ever. Danny Sola has started well, although he does lose his 6th place to Sarazan on stage 2. One of Ford's nominated drivers, Roman Cresta, though, is currently just outside the point-scoring places in 9th. Mitsubishi's #1 driver, Harry Rovanperä, is faring no better. The Finn has limited experience on tarmac, and he is currently down in 12th. And there's more bad news for the Japanese manufacturer. Local expert Panizzi has suspension problems and drops from 8th to 13th. So Loeb's lead already an impressive 26.7 seconds after just 2 stages, while the battle for 2nd could hardly be tighter. The crews head back to the service park in the port of Ajaccio, where it's a spectacular backdrop for the waiting teams. Citroën and Sébastien Loeb are once again proving a potent combination on tarmac.
What do you do differently on asphalt compared to gravel? Is it about more commitment on asphalt?
It's completely different. On gravel you have a lot less grip, and so you have to brake earlier, you are sliding always. On tarmac you brake very late. In some fast corner you can really go very fast, and but you have to use the good lines and everything. It's in some stages it's a bit more like circuit racing.
So Loeb's flying, and it seems there's not much the man in second can do.
Do you think Sebastian's got this in the bag already?
I think so, yes. Without any problems and mistakes, yes.
It's going to be a long weekend for you then?
Yeah, once again. But what can we do?
Repeated runs through the morning stages next, so back to the 32 kilometres of Ampazza. Despite his pessimism, it's been an impressive start from Marcus Grönholm on his least favourite surface. The Finn finished second here in 2002, and at the moment he's on course to repeat that performance, but his position is coming under real pressure this afternoon.
5 vasen eri helppo sisältä, 5 vasen pitkä eri miinuskirraa, oikea täys 150, vasen nopea kirraa,
Marcus, looking at the split times, it's not been a great stage. You potentially could lose 2 places in there.
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, okay. We will see.
Grönholm is looking worried, and compatriot Tony Gardemeister is pushing hard to catch the Peugeot driver. He's under extra pressure this weekend, which ironically is because of the man he's chasing. With Grönholm signing for Ford for next season, suddenly Gardemeister's position with the team is not so secure. He was just a second behind before this stage, and this is looking very fast. Half a second quicker than Grönholm, and the same margin now separates the 2 Finns.
Is it quite rough in there? A lot of gravel now?
Yeah, it's very rough in the end, and you know, I tried to be in the middle of the road, but it was tricky.
Francois Duval was at times as quick as his teammate Loeb on the last tarmac event in Germany. However, he's been unable to match the searing pace of the world champion so far today. But he is looking quicker on stage 3. The Belgian was only 2.5 seconds behind Grönholm's second place coming into this stage, and Grönholm has really raised his game here. Yes, that's a terrific time from Citroën's number 2, 11 seconds quicker than Grönholm, and he jumps 2 places to second.
Francois, great stage. You're up to second now with that time.
Yes, it's not so bad time. Now the tire choice is quite better. As well, the setting is quite better. The confidence comes back slowly, but it's not completely here.
After retiring in both Monte Carlo and Germany, Skoda are hoping to see an improvement from Alex Bengay in Corsica. He's currently the team's leading driver and is looking competitive today. There is some frustration for the Czech team, though, when a Czech driver passes Bengay for 8th on stage 3. Roman Cresta is on a charge this afternoon. No sign of a change in fortunes for Mitsubishi and Harry Rovanperä, though.
eteenpäin, pitkä vasen eri plus, aukeaa 7. Pitkä vasen eri lopussa sisään Kosse.
With Panizzi plummeting down the leaderboard following his suspension problems, the Finn is now the team's leading driver, down in 14th.
Nypin oli oikea K sisältä, jatkaa pitkä vasen K, kääntyy.
Sebastian Loeb is just 3 wins away from setting a new WRC record of 11 victories in a season, and after his performance so far today, he's on course to claim one more. Once again, Loeb is fastest on stage 3. The world champion's advantage now over half a minute, but it's his teammate Duval who's now his closest rival, with Gronholm now under threat from Gardemeister. The last stage of day 1 coming up after the break. Just one stage remains on the first leg of the Rally de France. Marcus Gronholm has begun to lose momentum after a strong start to the day, and there is a real problem here. The 307's transmission problems have returned, and he's lost third gear. This is incredibly frustrating. The fragile reliability of the car has looked much improved this season, but the problems have returned at the worst possible time.
The gearbox is blocked now and I cannot move from here. So before the stage, we on the road section we lost the third gear, so we did the stage without third. But here suddenly it blocked the gears. I don't know what happened. So.
Realistically, this is now the end of Peugeot's challenge in the Manufacturers' Championship, and although there are still 2 rounds remaining, this is a sad way to end his 6-year association with the team. Unable to make it back to Ajaccio, Gronholm shares a consolation beer with the local fans. Gronholm's woes do at least make Gardemeister's job of claiming his compatriot's position rather straightforward. The Finn has had his best ever season, finally getting an opportunity in a truly competitive car. The wins haven't come, but he's achieved 4 podium finishes, and now up to third, he's on course to claim 1 more here. It remains to be seen, though, if Tony's performances have done enough to retain his drive with Ford for next season. Another driver who could be looking for a job at the end of the season is François Duval.
Pour long droite 80 ferme, pas extérieur, sur gauche à fond, ferme, pas extérieur.
After being dropped for 2 rounds earlier in the season, the Belgian has returned a much improved driver. Gone are the early season errors, and it's no coincidence that Duval's return has coincided with Citroën's climb up the manufacturer's standings. He ends the day second. In front, though, once again is Duval's teammate Sébastien Loeb. The Frenchman's success is as much down to the reliability of his Citroën Zara as his own driving skills. He's only had 1 retirement this season, and that was in Sweden back in February. Loeb dominating rallies has become a familiar story this season, and at his home event, it's been no different. So, as expected, it's world champion Sébastien Loeb who's pulled out an impressive advantage after day 1, 41.3 seconds ahead of his teammate Duval. Leading Skoda driver Alex Benge is in the final point-scoring place, but Robin Pera is Mitsubishi's leading nominated driver, down in 12th.
François, end of day 1 and things are looking very good for you and Citroën.
Yes, it's not so bad for me. It's really good for Citroën. Sure, the second setting for the 2 last stages for today it's quite better. For the rest, everything okay. Good shows the tires. Everything okay.
Sebastian, you've won every stage today. A perfect start to the rally.
Yes, a perfect start. I tried to push hard from the start because I wanted to fight for the victory here, and since that I'm on a really good rhythm and everything is working well. We had good tire choice all the day, no mistakes. The car was working perfectly, and I'm really confident with the car, and the feeling is good. So everything is perfect for the moment.
Sebastian Loeb's on course to claim his first victory at his home event, and the Citroën team have taken another step closer to retaining the Manufacturers' Championship. Join us again tomorrow for leg 2 of the Rally de France, and keep up to date with all the latest news and results on WRC.com.
Next plane to Helsinki.